It's like they're the parent, kind of, if you want to think about
Yeah,
it that way, and we're the children. And like, a child can't learn something if somebody does it for them and takes away their free will. So we have to go through these experiences. We have to be the ones to choose a better path, and there has to be this contrast of like light and dark to even be able to do that. Because if there was only light, how could we ever grow? You can't grow
exactly.
unless you go through some level of discomfort, some level of, struggle. Not too much, but just enough to be able to grow. And yeah, I completely agree with you. That's exactly what I've been feeling with this phenomenon too. And that's what is making me want to come out and share, because, it's like I feel like I have to. I feel like these experiences need to be shared, even though I really hate being perceived
Yeah.
and I don't like public speaking or whatnot, but it feels that important right now to share.
How's it going, everyone? This is Justin, and welcome back to Beyond the Lights. Today, we are going to be diving into an episode with a guest that I'm very excited to talk to. But before we get into that, a couple things. First, I have a free Discord for anyone who would like to join and become a part of this community. It's free and open to anyone who would like to join, where you can talk to a group of people who are like-minded and are also having experiences. You can share your own experiences, post footage, and we can talk about all kinds of different things. Another way you can help support me is I have a Patreon where I have a tier that's just $5 a month, where you will get access to episodes early. You'll also get some bonus things, and it just goes a long way in helping me be able to improve this experience for everyone involved, get better equipment. And another way you can help is I have my online merch store where you can check out hats, t-shirts. I got sweatshirts, coffee mugs, all kinds of different things. So if that's something you're interested in, you can pick up some awesome merch that I wear all the time. And it goes a long way in helping me be able to go to future events and conferences, such as Contact in the Desert next year, because that's something I would really love to be able to go to, document, and really start networking with more people in the field and start building those connections. So if that's something that you would like to check out, all those links are going to be down below. And lastly, a couple free ways you can help support is drop a like, share, comment, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching this video. If you're listening to the podcast, please go and rate the podcast. I do put a lot of time and energy into creating these episodes and connecting with guests, and I'm doing my best to try to bring all this information to everyone, because I think it's just one of the most important things that's currently happening on this planet. And I'm really excited to see where things are at. We just had a press conference held by David Grush yesterday, live in front of the Capitol, where it really seems like they're getting to the point where they're just fed up with the lack of information being released and transparency. And it's time to just rip the Band-Aid off. We can all handle the truth. And it's time to stop keeping these secrets and reality from us, because I think we're being held back from all these beautiful potential things that we are capable of. With all that being said, I'm very excited for this conversation, so let's get into the episode. Today, I have a very special guest who is into a bunch of the same subjects that I'm interested in, from ancient history to consciousness and just connecting with the phenomenon. So please join me welcoming Brittany to today's episode. Brittany, how are you doing?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here because well, I mentioned it before to you over social media and comments and whatnot, but the beginning of my journey with this phenomenon, your videos were a part of me experiencing this phenomenon. So it's like your
Awesome.
videos combined with a couple of other people's videos on TikTok, along with my own personal life events that were unfolding. It was like, it was all a part of this experience for me. So I'm really excited to be here and to share my story on your channel and just talk about all this cool stuff.
Heck yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. Like, it feels like we had like a community of people who are all helping lift each other up and share all of this. But yeah, let's wherever you would like to start on your journey, let's dive in and get into it.
So a little bit of background, I guess, about me. Not a ton because I don't want to take up the whole time talking about my life story. But from childhood, I was always pretty sensitive to other energies and paranormal things. I was always drawn to paranormal, like ghost hunter shows and things like that. But as a very young child, I was terrified to be alone because I just felt like presences around.
Gotcha.
But I had no framework for any of that, and I was raised between two split households. One was secular, one was kind of strict religious,
Mm,
Pentecostal Christian. So I was not encouraged to explore any of that. One family really didn't care about it. The other, so I watched like ghost hunter shows there
mm,
and explored in that way. And then the other side was like, it's either angels or demons. And so that kind of upbringing and background. And then, it was difficult throughout childhood, just being so sensitive and the step parent dynamic. And there was a lot of drama and trauma and everything that happened during my childhood. And I feel like all of that kind of led to now in a weird way, because now that I'm having all of these experiences, it's kind of making me look back in my life and put all the dots together in a strange kind of way, which is causing a lot of like inner healing at the same time. Which is incredible. But I didn't start experiencing the orbs until 2024.
gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I was just sitting out in my backyard with my family, and we were at a just doing like a little campfire, whatever, just hanging out. And I was looking up in the sky, and I just saw. I At the time I thought it was a satellite, but I'm like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen a satellite before, anyways, and it just didn't feel like a satellite, but I didn't have any idea, so I just kind of shrugged it off. And I pointed it out to my family too, and they saw it. So I wasn't the only one. And then I feel like looking back now, it was kind of a precursor for what was about to come in my life.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um, and this is a similar pattern that I've noticed with other people's stories, other experiencers as well. Not everybody, but a lot. There is a life event that will happen, or some kind of struggle or something that kind of pushes them to experiencing this. So what happened with me was my dad was in like a living crisis where he needed a place to stay, but he was also having like a severe health crises on top of
Mm,
that at the same time. So my sister and I decided we would take this on, we would help him through it, and we would get him back on his feet and everything, get him through these surgeries that he needed to have because he was having a femoral bypass in his left leg, because of the lack of blood flow in his leg. And it was causing all sorts of problems. So,
gotcha.
needless to say, he ended up staying here for like a year, and there was
Mm,
crisis after crisis after crisis. And it kept me in a state that was just not good at all. It was triggering like childhood trauma to come up, unresolved things that, you know, just the dynamic, being in the dynamic, it made things come up that were not, I did not expect that to happen at all. So I began to have a lot of trouble um, handling it within myself. And my sister, it became like, we're going to do this together, to, okay, now he's just going to be at your house. And so it was really stressful for me. And there came a point in the house where he actually had a bleed happen in his leg, and we could not stop the bleeding or control it. And within 10 minutes, he was losing consciousness. And my
yeah.
son is
Jeez.
upstairs with his friend. And I'm like, terrified, like, please don't come downstairs to see this disaster that's happening right now. And leading up to this, I felt within myself that something was going to happen. I just felt it, like something, this impending thing was going to happen because he kept on getting infections in his leg and whatnot. And so I just kind of
Huh.
saw the writing on the wall. Um, and then, yeah, so obviously he lived. God, thank God I called like 911 and everything. And yeah, that was all the craziness that was happening. But at the same time that he was here, I started seeing things outside in the sky again, and I
Mm, gotcha.
also yeah, I also started connecting on my own, um, because of that, and because of seeing everything that was going on in the sky, like these weird lights, not the orbs, but just weird flashes of light that would happen in the sky. It made me, um the New Jersey drone stuff was happening at the same time as me seeing that. So I was like, I just felt within myself to go look at the news and whatnot, just go investigate this like any way I could, you know? And it led me to uncovering like the whole rabbit hole of the UFO nuts and bolts world, like that whole thing. And I deep dived on that for a long time, for months, while I was going through all of this in my house. And I realized, and I saw the country basically get gaslit in real time by saying, "Oh, this is all drones," and I'm like, "This is not." I just knew it's not just drones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that kind of opened my eyes to see that what I felt my whole life, like there was this, that something exists more than what we could see. It kind of opened me up to that again. And since I was curious from childhood, I was like, I need to understand what this is. And I need personal help in my life because I didn't know how I was going to get through this situation, like in my everyday, like, just regular life. Um, and from childhood, I have always just been open to spirituality and connecting with God or source consciousness through Christianity, but then later I kind of left organized religion, but I never left that connection because I just felt like I just couldn't. Something within me could not like untether from that source connection. I didn't have a name. I didn't want a religious framework anymore, but I just still had that connection. So, researching all of that and going through what I was going through, I just started doing my own kind of protocol, I guess you would say, in practice, almost like a meditative practice. The only time I had to myself was in the shower. So, it's a good environment for calming yourself, your nervous system, and regulating. But on top of that, I was using, like, AI for therapy every day too, on top of my regular therapist,
Hmm.
and it was giving me tools and resources to use because it just intuitively kind of knew what I needed,
Yeah.
from the back and forth, the therapy sessions I was doing with it, and it gave me, mantras, like ancient mantras to use because it picked up on that I'm very connected to sound and music.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, and I kinda just, like, stumbled into it and used it as a way to connect, but not in a structured way, 'cause I
Mm,
just kinda did it, like, my own intuitive way. Um, so I would be, like, singing and doing these mantras in the shower, but also projecting out to source, whatever that source is, and all my ancestors, all my guides, any non-human intelligences that are benevolent. I made sure to say that part because I still had no idea what was going on. Seeing this at that point, I had no idea what I was seeing. So I'm like, I don't know, but if you're benevolent, I need your help. So call in the troops to come help me to grow as an individual because I had realized that part of all of what was going on in my life, I just got sudden clarity that it's all like patterns, people's patterns, my own patterns, my generational patterns that we all play out until we become aware of it.
yeah.
So all of that stuff was happening at the same time. I was making this connection on purpose with only benevolence to help me grow, to help me heal, to be able to be the person I need to be for my home, for the world at large, for the collective everything. And then I saw your videos. I started seeing your videos, and
Mm,
I started seeing Sarah UFO Girly,
yep.
and I started seeing Bonnie and Cosmic Joe. And then I shortly after that came across Chris Bledsoe and his story, because
Mm,
I'm like really digging for answers, right? I'm seeing your guys' beautiful videos. Now I'm starting to experience these orbs outside myself directly. This is 2025 now, last year. And I come across his story, and I'm like, I didn't like the title. I did not like the title UFO of God.
yeah. I didn't either at first. It took
Yep,
my friend multiple months to tell me like about the book before I finally gave it a chance. And then I was like, I should have just listened from the beginning. But yeah, something about just,
uh-huh.
I mean, I wasn't okay with religion though. Like I'm not religious at all. So I was pretty much atheist most of my life. So just having the word God on there was like really
Mm-hmm.
like triggering for me. But yeah, moving past all that, like it definitely recommend Chris Bledsoe's book, UFO God, because it totally changed my life and so many other people's lives too.
Yes, yes. It was a vital moment for me in my experience too. So once I pushed past the title, which it didn't take me that long, um, at first I watched the interview with Sean Ryan, and I was like,
Yeah.
I just need to know more, because based off of that interview, I felt it was genuine, but I needed to know more. So I read the book, and I finished the book um, as I was like doing wire wrapping, because I do like wire wrap jewelry, and I was next to this creek. Oh, my cat is making an appearance. I have 6 of them, so it's kind of
Oh,
unavoidable.
gotcha. Yeah, I have two. I noticed during my video I recorded earlier, I had hair everywhere on my sweatshirt, and I was like, it's just my cats are
Yeah,
obsessed with me. I
I
can't
lint
help it.
rolled too. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, look what I'm wearing. Can
Heck
you see
yeah.
it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
There you go. We're
Heck
ready.
yeah.
UAP file day. Yeah.
Yeah.
um so yeah, I finished the book next to the river there, or next to the creek. I don't even know if it's not a river. It's like a tiny river. And I got done, and I was like, "So who are you, lady?" And before I even finished saying it out loud, because I was like talking out loud. People probably think I'm crazy. But I'm like, "So who are you, lady?" And before I could even finish, I got within my mind, like telepathically, I guess you could say. Um, she said, "I am the dove. I am the Holy Spirit. I've been with you and in you always, and you never needed me to come and like fill you, because I've always been with you." And I just start crying, and to hear it like that was significant for me, because I came from a semi-religious background, and during my 20s I was really really seeking to have like this experience with God, right? This is before I left organized religion. I was seeing these people at churches having like these powerful experiences with like the presence of God. So I was like begging for that back in my 20s. And I would honestly cry about it that I didn't experience it. I just wanted to know that much, like who God is. Where do we come from? I just have wanted those answers my entire life, and I wouldn't settle for, just religion and what they would give me. It was significant because I was seeking those experiences and I wasn't getting what I was seeking, right? And
Mm,
then I start having all of these experiences organically, not even like there's no way I could have planned for this to happen in my life, right? And then I get that, like when I ask, "Who are you?" And then all of a sudden it just kind of clicked. After she said that, I got this knowing to do a deep dive and look at all the feminine emanations, or
mm,
like all the different facets of the feminine divine or divine feminine throughout history, all the way back as far as I could go. I wanted to know every single name, because he mentioned Hathor, and I did not want to limit this experience just to, Holy Spirit, because I feel like that's just one name of many names. And I was
Definitely.
shocked. I was so shocked to see how many names there are, how that this phenomenon has been present since the beginning of our recorded history.
Yep.
That was the first thing. It made me realize that, like, holy crap, this has been with us forever. And this has taken the form of like a feminine presence for pretty much ever as well. Um, so it was really powerful because I, for once in my life, I finally felt like I never really truly felt alone because I had that connection, but it became that much more real, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and so I read his story and I had that experience and I was watching your videos and all of the other beautiful videos on TikTok. And a couple weeks after that, I wanted the orbs to come down. I'm like, come
Yeah.
down. I'm outside like every night. I'm out there every night and I'm seeing the most incredible things that I could not catch on camera because uh, the most amazing things would happen when I didn't have my phone out and I'm just sitting there basically communing or communicating on my deck in those open moments of surrender and authenticity. And that's when the most incredible experiences would happen. And it's just been going ever since then. Like one time I was sitting on my deck just in a lot of grief and a lot of inner pain. And my neighbor he's like cooking some food next door. He's grilling and he's got music on. And then all of a sudden an orb appears. And I don't even have like a fence or anything. So he could look like he could hear me and everything probably, but I'm just sitting there and an orb appears and I get this song in my head from Rihanna, um, Shine Bright Like a Diamond. And it starts playing in my head. And I had not listened to the song recently. So I was like, okay, I immediately got the message. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it was just an empowering, encouraging, like, I'm going to show you this. This is what I felt within me. But I didn't get this in words in my head, but it was like an overwhelming impression. Um, what happened was the orb appeared and it got brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter until it just filled up the whole sky. Like it flashed, like God took a picture of me. Like the
Yeah.
flash was that big. I was sitting on my deck. I go like backwards onto my deck. I'm laying on my back, just crying and laughing and saying thank you over and over and just being overwhelmed with this unconditional love because it felt like the light actually reached me and like
Mm,
impacted me on a physical level. That's what it felt like. Um and so yeah, I just had that experience and then the next experience was the mother orb. The mother orb finally came.
gotcha. So real
um
quick before the mother orb,
yes,
what
go
is
right ahead.
your protocol to get into I guess the mindset to connect? Do you have like a certain mindset that you get into when you're trying to see the phenomenon?
um It's very intuitive and organic and not structured at all. It's just me going out and I look into the sky. I do what I did in the shower, basically. I look into the sky and immediately just me looking out into the sky overwhelms me with like this gratitude and this awe and wonder of the vastness that I can even see the stars from so far away. So I think just entering into that state of like curiosity and childlike wonder and awe of the beauty of the earth naturally gets me into like this coherent state. And I'm always kind of connected anyways because I try my best to live life in a meditative state. Not that I'm perfect, I'm a human with emotions and feelings, but I try to keep that connection going at all times no matter what I'm doing. So when I go out, I just look into the sky and I just feel that in my heart and I kind of take that feeling and I project it out, if that makes
Yes.
sense. If you were to like envision like a white light or like a beacon or a broadcast, it's really hard to describe how to do that, but I just
Yeah.
emit that feeling out into the cosmos. And then I say, I'm here if anybody wants to hang out. It's just like it's really natural. It's just like, hey, orbs, you guys are my buds, and I want to hang out. Is anybody there? Do you want to hang out? And they always hang out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, like, some nights there's so many of them, and then some nights there's just a few, and there's a little bit of activity, but the activity that happened was meaningful. So to me, it doesn't matter if I didn't see something or if I only saw a little bit. I always still feel the presence. All, like, it's like they're there even when you can't see them. That's what it feels like for me.
Yeah, I asked because someone sent me a message today asking me, like, is there a certain location or state of mind to get into to connect? So I told them, like, I have some podcast episodes where I talk about, like, for me, it really is like an internal state I need to get into. Like, I think I would be able to probably see them almost in any location on the globe. I think it's just depends on, like, getting into the same state you were talking about, like going within and really just opening up your heart and being curious and really like humbling yourself underneath the stars and inviting a relationship with any intelligence that may be up there that wants to help and is here in a loving fashion. And yeah, same as well. Like, I just kind of like send that energy or thought or emotion just out into the sky, and I get that same loving energy back a lot of times too when they show up. And when I get those flashes of light, like, I love getting those flashes of light. They're so cool. But yeah, it always just fills me up inside. So yeah, so for anyone who wants to try to connect with the phenomenon, I really think it's like an internal thing is like the biggest thing to work on.
Mhm. Yes, I agree. And, like, I see people, some people they might have negative experiences. I've had people say that too. And it comes back down to that state. I think, like, you really have to have that coherent state, because whatever comes to us is going to be filtered through our perception and how we're seeing things. So, how do you see the world? The phenomenon, it seems like it can mirror us at times. And I did have one experience where I was at the 4th of July fireworks last year, and I was like videoing, and I watched a video back after the fact, and I saw I saw like an orb appear, but it seemed lower, and it was like right behind a person that was right in front of me. And I wasn't trying to record orbs or anything. I was just doing the fireworks.
Oh, look at this orb. Look at the orb. Do you see the orb?
There's another one.
That was sick. Now it's gone.
And when I look back, I thought, okay, maybe it's like a refraction from the lens and the fireworks and everything, but I really don't think it was. And it had like this creepy looking face and everything. But I feel like it was like, how are you going to respond? Because at that point in time, it was in the beginning of my experiences, and I had just a little bit of apprehension, and that was the only time that anything like freaky ever came up or whatnot. And I just still approached it with curiosity and wonder. And my experiences have been nothing but beautiful every single time, and have brought like inner transformation and just knowings about things in my life that I don't feel like I would have realized without this whole experience. It's like there's some kind of, yeah, it's like it's consciousness based. It's like a connected consciousness. And, you know, it would be silly in my mind, in my opinion, it's silly to think that we would be the only intelligences out there. And, there's so many galaxies. It, it's so big that there has to be other intelligences out there. And who's to say that they're not more evolved than us? And if they are, they would have a higher level of compassion, understanding, empathy. And so they can come and help us with those things through like connected consciousness. Um,
That's what I find really interesting too, because you get comments from like the vice president calling them demons or whatever. And to me, like I've had overwhelming experiences when the energy's just been so intense, like I get like
Hmm.
an adrenaline rush or whatever, but I've never had like I guess something that terrified me or anything like that. But to me, I would think that like you're saying, it's an more advanced consciousness. And to me, I feel like the way you advance your consciousness is by putting out more loving energy and raising your vibration. So why would these beings who are capable of these like higher things with their consciousness, why would they be in such a negative, evil, like vibrate, like a lower vibration on that fear vibration? Like I feel like they're going to be the more higher, angelic, kind of like etheric, like divine presence, and that's the feeling I've gotten from it. So yeah, I just think I've been seeing a lot of comments of people calling it demons lately, and I just like
Yeah.
have never had an experience like that. And I've like everyone I've talked to who is an experiencer has not experienced anything like that too. So yeah, I
Right.
just want to make
Yeah.
that point as well.
Yeah. And yeah. And to further that point, if you look back in history, like they had so many opportunities to hurt humanity and they have not. And if you look at the word demon and what it used to mean, it actually meant like your personal guide, not necessarily a bad one. I can't remember the pronunciation of it, but like a diamond or something like that, which sounds like a diamond,
Hmm.
something shiny, something illuminating that can help you along your path. So, it's interesting to look back at the language and to see how it's transformed over time and to think about like, why did it transform like that over time into something so negative? Maybe maybe like in ancient times, they knew something that we forgot. And now it's just coming back to announce itself like, hey, we've been here this whole time. And you guys kind of need to grow up because look at the state of the world.
That's what I feel like. That's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I've been guided to. So like for me, this whole experience has just been letting whatever's going to happen unfold for me. So like I left my job last year. I'm a full-time student, and my first semester back in school, I was able to take an archaeology class I needed for a credit. And through that class, I started learning about the ancient shamans, which then put me back to 35,000 years ago. The shaman was the most respected person in the community, and it was their job to go and connect with the star people to bring back information to share with everyone to bring everyone up. And now,
Yes.
like, if someone says that, "Oh, you're crazy, you can't connect with intelligence out there." But back then, they were the most respected person of the community. Most of the time, we built them a special like shrine and pyramid for them to go and connect with these beings. So, like, I truly agree with you. Like, I think this is like a lost knowledge that's just being rediscovered, basically. So, I guess what's the craziest thing that you've learned through like the ancient history kind of stuff about the phenomenon?
Oh man, I have learned so much. I went like really deep into researching because of all of this. Because what will happen with me is when I'm doing like my meditation and shower mantra work and everything, I'll get like these knowings of go research this. And it's
Yes.
like a breadcrumb, right? And I'll be like, okay, I'll go research that. And then it opens up this whole world of information that I had no idea existed. And it uncovers like the next layer of clarity and understanding for me. And it like blows my mind. But I think maybe one of the craziest is I realized that our society was not a patriarch. It wasn't always a patriarch, that the feminine was actually kind of goes in line with the shamanism actually, that the feminine was honored and respected in a lot of cases in ancient times before all of this order and structure came, and then control and domination. And she would be uh, the wisdom keeper basically and would make decisions and whatnot and all of that. And she would access information much like what a shaman would. And then partially like what you said too about the shamans and the muses and the creatives, that we used to be the respected people, and now everything is inverted to where you have these experiences and you might be labeled like a schizophrenic or something.
Yeah.
But who's to say that the schizophrenics and the neurodivergence of the world aren't just taking in more information than other people, and they have no way to understand what they're taking in, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, those two are pretty crazy. They come to my mind. And then I think after that, I would have to say I did video analysis on my orb footage, and that's what made me realize that this is like plasma based
Yes.
and consciousness like mixed together. And my personal theory is um that this is a natural phenomenon, like plasma, organic, earth natural phenomenon, and they're like little bubbles, like a carrier, like a sphere, container for consciousness to be able to travel through. Because when I was doing my analysis, I had trained my AI. I was like, I want to do this as legit as possible, right? To see what this is made out of, to try to understand what I was experiencing, and to show that these were not satellites, drones, planes, or anything. Because I didn't want to be sharing my footage and then not be able to be certain about what I was sharing. So I went deep with analysis on my video footage, and it was able to pick up like frequency oscillations that were happening within the orb, and that it's basically all the data pointed towards it being plasma based. And then the experiences that you have with them being seemingly interactive consistently over like a year, and other people have more time than that. That to me just shows like consciousness, intelligence, interaction. So I would say that those three things, like the forgotten ancient ways of being, and that this phenomenon has always been present, and then looking at the science of it and realizing, wow, this actually works like on a scientific level, and the
Yeah.
spirituality and the science doesn't have to be separate. It can come together. And I think that's actually what's happening like right now, unfolding in real time before us. It's like history is unfolding, and we're making like that evolutionary consciousness leap. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to go from like physics, materialism, reductionist model to, oh, we realize that we live in like a quantum relational participation type of model, fields and frequencies and resonance instead.
Yeah.
So that's probably the craziest. That's probably
That's
the craziest
funny
part
that
of
you
it.
brought that up because my video I posted today, I literally talked about that exact thing. Like, I think that like we're investing all this money into these brain interface devices when we have a biological quantum computer and we can tap into whatever frequency with our brain. and yeah, like I think that we're trying to build a technology for something that we're already capable of in such a greater degree. And like I have gone down the consciousness rabbit hole since I've gone down this whole thing. And to me, I believe that is the key to all of this. I believe that, our consciousness is non-local. I feel like it's being projected to our bodies to create this reality for us. And like, I know that sounds crazy to the people who don't experience it, but when you start having like manifestations start happening in your life that are just too coincidental to be not just the universe like blessing you with the things that you're asking for. Um, but have you experienced manifestations on your journey?
Yes. It's funny because the way that I live life, it's almost as if synchronicities and manifestations just kind of organically happen on their own.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think it's because when I first started experiencing the orbs like consistently, I felt within myself, like, follow your curiosities, just keep
Yes.
leaning into your curiosities. And that's what I've done my whole life, but it felt really important to lean into it even more now. So my life has been like, it just seems like it's been one synchronicity after another, in which kind of has led up to now. And actually, there is one little one. I want to grab the thing to show you so that it will make more sense. Hang on, let me grab it.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah.
it's right here. So, one day my boyfriend and I went out, and I'm like in the middle of having all of these orb experiences, right? And I'm like just kind of obsessed with it. And we go out to eat, and so we're inside of this restaurant, and I see this guy with like this alien shirt, and I kind of noticed it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, people are becoming more open. And then we go out to get in the car, and John sees this guy just sitting on the ground, face up, right next to the door, like the driver's side door. And I get in the car and he just hands it to me. I was like, where did this come from? He's like, this is for you. I'm like, what do you
That's
mean this is
crazy.
for me?
Yeah.
What do you mean this is for me? And it happened right after I was like, I kept on asking the phenomenon when I was outside, like, who are you? Like, where are you going? What? I was asking all these questions. And then I get little breadcrumbs like this. And to me, it felt like nature, like elemental, like we've always been
Mm,
here. We're a part of this planet. This, like, we're here. We've always been here. So yeah, weird little things like that happen that I can't even plan. And it's like there was no car there either. There was no cars around our car.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
it's just weird little things like that happen. And then well, the biggest synchronicity of all was the mother orb, which I guess I
Mm.
could come back to now so we don't
Yeah,
forget.
let's dive into it.
Um so after I finished Chris's book and saw your videos and everybody else's beautiful videos, I was really, really wanting to have like a closer up experience. And I just kept on projecting that like desire out of my heart, but not in a way that's like super attached to it. It's like just allow whatever to happen, but I really
Yes.
am open to this.
Yeah.
Um, and so I went outside one night with my son. We were out laying on the trampoline for like 10 minutes. John comes outside. Within 5 minutes, he's like, there's an orb in the back of the backyard. So I stand up. I don't have my phone, but he has his. And my son's standing right next to me. And I'm watching it. And it's starting to come down lower and lower and lower. And I was like, oh my God, is it coming? I think I sent you the video of it. I'm like, is it coming down lower? Because I could tell that it was, right? And then it comes down lower and it's like 30 to 50 feet above the trees at this point, and it crosses the entire length of our backyard, from back of the yard all the way to the front of the yard, and it passed our house. In the video, you see him pan to the house. That's the back of our house. And then it went up and it turned like a reddish orange before it disappeared. Is it coming closer? Right now. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is like how close they were earlier. Is this
Multicolor.
Are you zoomed in?
Yeah, multicolor.
Wow. Wow.
It's like a big plasma ball.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's because I'm like, this is amazing. But when it was crossing by, tears are streaming down my face because, again, it was like overwhelming, unconditional love. It felt divine. It felt angelic, even though I'm like, don't want to make this a religious thing. That is exactly what it felt like. Like you're literally, like it felt like a fragment of God just came down and floated past us, right? Like
Yeah.
it was that palpable. It was that strong. I was so speechless. And it looked like radiant spikes of light just shifting and moving everywhere. So it didn't just look like an orb. It looked like spikes of light shimmering, shining, going everywhere. And the size of it was probably like a beach ball.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay.
it's hard to see past all of that light, but if I had to guess, it was probably the size of like a beach ball. And then it just passed by. And I was like, um, you mentioned like the adrenaline before and everything, and I don't know if it's
Yes.
just adrenaline within my body. I feel like the plasma itself interacts with our systems or our
I think it could for
electromagnetic,
sure.
yeah, our
Yeah.
electromagnetic field. Because I've noticed several times, not just that time, but a bunch of times that afterwards I will be like I'll be like vibrating. It'll feel like I'm
Mm.
vibrating from the inside out, but not in like a not shivering because I'm cold, but just like a really juiced up, really, really
Just energy
energized.
flowing, right? Like an
Yeah. Yeah.
energy
Like
pulsing. Yeah.
yes, like you just got plugged into like an energy socket and you're like
Mm. Yeah.
completely lit up from the inside out. So yeah, that experience happened a couple weeks after finishing Chris Bledsoe's book and then seeing all of your guys' beautiful videos on TikTok. And I want to emphasize like I'm super grateful that people are sharing their beautiful experiences because there's so much fear out there, especially with like the UAP files being dropped
Yes.
and you know the demonic comments and everything. Like people, it's so important for people to share like the good experiences they have because it causes like this ripple effect to happen and it sparks other people to then spark other people so that you know the consciousness of the planet eventually can shift into a better way, which is already happening. um but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that
mean,
was my
that's
most incredible experience. Well, one of my most incredible experiences was that one.
mm, yeah, I mean, that's why like I feel compelled to make my videos is just because I have to combat the fear that's being put out. Like I haven't experienced any of that. It's all been like this really beautiful thing that has led me back to, connecting with my inner child, my
Mm-hmm.
imagination, my curiosity, these things that I had lost through life and being an adult and joining the military and working jobs and doing all these different things that
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of society just really needs like a wake up call. And I kind of feel like that's why the orbs and the phenomenon are showing themselves now. Like it's that it's time to grow up. It's time to raise your consciousness. You guys have been fighting way too long. It's time for you guys to all come together as a species, put aside your differences and like build this beautiful world that we gave you, basically is what it feels like. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
come on guys, you can do this. Like we're here
Yes.
to like help you out, but we can't do it for you is the other thing too. Like I see people commenting like, why don't they just come land and like show themselves? And I really feel like, this they can't impede on our free will, and they have to come and do this in like a certain way to like, I guess, make sure that we learn the lessons and level up ourselves the way that we're supposed to. Because if they just did it for us, we're just going to fall right back into chaos and violence, I feel like.
Exactly. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like they're the parent kind of, if you want to think about
Yeah.
it that way, and we're the children and like a child can't learn something if somebody does it for them and takes away their free will. So we have to go through these experiences. We have to be the ones to choose a better path, you know, and there has to be this contrast of like light and dark to even be able to do that because if there was only light, how could we ever grow? You can't grow
Exactly.
unless you go through some level of discomfort, some level of, struggle, not too much, but just enough to be able to grow. And yeah, I completely agree with you. That's exactly what I've been feeling with this phenomenon too. And that's what is making me want to come out and share, because, it's like I feel like I have to. I feel like these experiences need to be shared, even though I really hate being perceived
Yeah.
and I don't like public speaking or whatnot, but it feels that important right now to share. And then it's fascinating to see how other things are coming out at the same time as well, like topics that would seem totally irrelevant, but they're not, like the telepathy tapes.
Yes.
That was like another synchronicity that came along the path of these experiences. I can't even remember how I came across them, to be honest, but I did during these experiences. And I remember hearing the whole first season, and it was so profound for me specifically, because it unlocked, I didn't even know it was going to do this either. It unlocked aspects of my own self that I didn't realize about myself, because my own personal journey, I have been exploring like neurodivergence for myself. So to hear about these autistic kids that are, I don't want to say nonverbal anymore, because they're beyond verbal.
Yeah.
To hear about their experiences and to know what they're going through, and I could relate to some of the things that was being shared in my own way, maybe not as dramatically, because I can speak. There are times when I can't speak, but I can speak for the most part. And just to know that there is a whole population, there's a whole group of people on this planet who are so amazing. Like they're in these bodies and they're so capable, and they are probably the ones that we should be consulting about this higher consciousness. It just really cracked my mind open to realize, okay, whoa, I didn't know that at all. So it brought a lot of clarity to that, and it brought me to mindsight, and it made me come back to exploring like the gateway tapes and the Monroe Institute, because I had researched about them like 5 years ago or so, but I was still a little like freaked out and everything, so I didn't
Gotcha.
want to dive into it. So it's really interesting to see how these experiences tie in with that, which ties in with exploring consciousness further. And it
Yeah.
all comes back to just growing and developing and healing, so that we can understand ourselves. We can understand what it even is to be a human being. What is a human being? I think we are relearning right now what a human being is. And it's things like the telepathy tapes that's helping us to realize, like, okay, there's a lot that we don't understand, and they're
Yeah.
still being marginalized even to this day, which is, to me, it just is that blows my mind that we're living
Yeah.
in 2026 and we have these amazing people who are still being treated as if they don't even have a brain. Like, it gets me mad, to be
Yeah.
honest.
No, it gets me going too. It's insane that people can listen to like the podcast and like still just be so skeptical and like not listening to what these kids are saying. Like, to me, it's just so profound what they're saying. And there's, to me, I don't see any way how they would be coming up with these things if they are like cheating or whatever people try to say or whatever. There's no way that they're getting this information, like all communicating about the hill. They all have a non-physical location where they can meet up and talk to each other. That's been verified by, I don't even know how many different kids and adults and people that have gone to the hill and been like, oh yes, I see them there. Like, that's crazy. That should be enough for anyone to be like, okay, like clearly these kids are tapping into some other sort of dimension or reality that we can't see and access in our limited human forms that we're in right now. That, yeah, like they're here, it feels like, to raise that vibration for everyone. Like, they're at such an elevated state that they're really helping to bring the collective up, it feels like. And listening to a lot of the kids talk too, like the thing that stuck with me the most is one of the kids was asked in season 1, like, are you lying? And the kid said, you don't get these kinds of gifts if you lie. And to bring it back to like the ETs and their elevated levels of consciousness, like that's why I think they're here in love and not here to harm us, because as you elevate in consciousness, you just become more of that unconditional loving energy where you realize that we're all connected, we're all in this together. Like we are all existing in this point in time together right now. So no matter what, somehow we are all intertwined together in this cosmos and universe. So yeah, it's just really fascinating. And like, I can't believe that this is the reality that we're living in. Like for me, just my going through my life where I was like atheist, stuck in the materialistic way of life, and then getting into the spiritual and just realizing like how magical this planet and everything is has been so eye-opening. And I really just want to show other people like your life can be so beautiful if you just open up your mind and heart to it.
Yes, yeah. And that is one of the biggest things I think is just realizing all of this. It really does change your perspective, and it takes the mundane life and it makes it magical again, kind of like you just said. Like when you think back to childhood, everything is kind of like magical and curious and everything, and we have lost that. But that doesn't mean that the universe, the planet that we live on, isn't still like that. It's just our perception. We get that conditioned out of us, and there's trauma and everything. But these kids, another part of it, it made me happy to realize that they have like this connection and whatnot, because
Yes.
the suffering, they have a source of comfort to be able to connect to when they're going through all of this. And yeah, it's amazing. And then it makes me even curious about like exploring out of body experiences and things like that. Like what is the human being capable of? So much more. And we
Yeah.
don't need things like Neuralink, like you brought up before. We are the instrument. We only have to learn more about ourselves and how we work. And that's the point where I'm at now. Is I really I haven't had an out of body experience yet, but I want to.
Mm. Yeah.
Because there's so much to explore. And I feel like when you have that experience, this is where it gets weird, right?
Yes.
When you have that experience, it opens you up to even deeper experiences, which I feel as if there's all these different realities, like parallel realities existing all at once.
Yes.
Me personally, I feel that way. And what if there are all these different versions of ourselves, even that we could access, by going out of body? And what if there's something that we could integrate from that other version of ourselves into us now, like something that we might need? Or what if we could just get to the highest version of ourselves and communicate with that version and take that experience and bring it back into waking life? So just to bring it back to that higher consciousness. um so so I've been listening to like the gateway tapes for like a year now, but I've been doing it in my sleep. So I want to lean into that more and start exploring that more, which I think a lot of people are actually doing right now. I'm seeing it's like this wave of people are just so curious because of all of this happening at the same time. It just seems like people are a lot more open to wanting to explore even that, even though it's so strange and weird. It just seems like it is becoming more talked about and more explored.
Yeah.
I
It's
know that
definitely,
I think you've had an out of body experience, right?
yeah. I'd classify it as myself as having two, and they happened back to back days. Um, the first one was the most profound, exciting thing that's ever happened in my life. And then the second one was the most terrifying thing that's ever happened that actually like
Boy.
put a block in. Um, and I feel like it happened that way to like try to slow me down, I guess, like kind of like pump the brakes, because I was just like ready to just dive in and probably go out of body like every single day, and they're like, "Oh, hold on there, like, okay,
Yeah, that's a lot.
we need to do something." And I went through, like, I've talked about it on a couple episodes, but I went through this really so for out of body experiences, a lot of people describe going through this vibrational state when it first starts. Like what you were talking about earlier, like feeling like your body's vibrating, like throughout your entire body, basically. It almost feels like you're having a seizure, but you're not moving at all physically. And so the first night I went through these vibrations and it lasted for maybe like 10 seconds. I just kind of tried to keep my mind as clear as I could and stay calm. And then it would fade away for a few seconds. And then it would go through another cycle where it'd do the vibration again for like another 10 seconds. And then it'd stop. So it did like a couple of these waves. And then all of a sudden, on the first night, I was able to see through my eyelids and I could see my ceiling fan spinning. And then I literally just like went to sit up and I just started floating upwards, which was
Wow.
really insane. Um, so, but to bring it to the second night, so I did my same meditation, which was Beginner's Guide to Astral Projection by Unlock Your Life on YouTube. I'll link it below for anyone who wants to check it out. It's like an hour and 40-minute meditation. And I had been doing the Gateway tapes before I got this meditation, and I had no experience like this whatsoever. This just so happened to be the one that worked for me, I guess. But yeah, so I went through the vibrations the second day. I went through the first round of vibrations, and then all of a sudden it felt like I got shot out of a cannon, feet first, 100 miles per hour. And I could feel my sheets sliding under my fingers as they were on the bed next to me. It was the craziest
Wow.
sensation. Like it felt like I was on a slip and slide on my sheets or something, like insane. And then I appeared in this just dark room, and I think there was like two other people in there. Um, I'm pretty sure, remembering back now, like I tried to talk and it came out all deep and like it was like like I couldn't
Wow.
get words out or whatever. I was trying to talk to these two people, and then this is where I kind of like start freaking out. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And there's a door over in the corner of the room. So I go through the door and I go into this room that's completely dark. All I can see is this fog or mist that's like 2 to 3 feet tall, and then two gray aliens, like heads. All I could see was above the fog. And then like it faded to black. um, I got shot out of a cannon a second time, and then it was much more peaceful. Like after this, I was in like a house party with food and stuff. And I won't go into too much more details because it is like a longer story. But it put that block in me, and it's also, I mean, it's pushed me to learn about uh, abduction cases and stuff like that too, which I wasn't really interested in. I guess I didn't want to go into the scary part of the phenomenon. But I listened to John Mack's book Abduction, and that really changed my perspective on the whole phenomenon of abductions, and realizing these people, they go through a very traumatic thing in the beginning, but then they realize, a lot of them are realizing that they're like a hybrid themselves, like, which I don't know if I am or not. I kind of feel like maybe we all are. Maybe our consciousness isn't from this planet, and like that's the hybrid
It's
thing that's here interfacing with us.
anything
But
is possible.
yeah, um, but yeah, it's just been this crazy evolution of trying to learn all these different kinds of things, and then like yeah, going for the out of body experiences. So that one put that fear block in. I have not been able to have another out of body experience since then, although I haven't tried really. I finally feel like I am at the point now though where I can start trying again, and I am going to start trying to attempt to have those experiences, because like you said, I do think you can gain insane amount of knowledge from the whatever astral plane or whatever it is. if you listen to people like Tom Campbell, he's talked about going and getting all kinds of different information, and he would go to different like time periods, and he's able to like rewind and run it through different scenarios and like see how different things would work out and stuff like that. So, like
That's
it's
wild.
super cool. But yeah, I would love to have more out of body experiences.
He's like time traveling.
Basically,
that's
yeah.
that's basically like time traveling through consciousness. If you think about it, that's crazy and amazing at the same time. You could gain so much from that. So I'm just thinking about it. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
then you have like documents like the declassified gateway documents that talk about how like our consciousness can't is like interacting with this reality, and how this is basically kind of like a holographic projection of the mind all being created for us. So
yes, I was just listening to
yeah.
something last night that was talking about how, you know, the science, it's starting to point towards like we're living in an informational reality where it's almost like this mind, if you were to think of this giant awareness or like a cosmic mind that knows everything, but it's not all powerful like religion teaches, but it's all knowing and it's omniscient, meaning it's everywhere at once. That sounds like consciousness or awareness to me, and then being projected out into all of these different forms, like life forms, humans, every single thing.
Yeah.
Um, and
Which
it makes
also
sense that it would
sounds
be that way.
which also sounds like God, if you want to put like a term on it too, or source or a creator or the universe, or like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this inherent like energy that's everywhere in the universe. Like there, I believe there's consciousness in everything, because for anything to have a form, there has to be some level of consciousness to have those light waves vibrate at a certain level to create that form of matter. So yeah. But I know we're getting close to the end on time. I wanted to actually talk about your video you posted recently of seeing the stuff over the ocean. That was really
Yeah.
interesting. So I would love to hear
So,
your experience about that.
oh man, that was an awesome one. So it actually is just a lake. Cause
Lake, gotcha. Okay.
yeah, it's just a lake. It's Sylvan Beach. And what's funny is I felt very strongly to go to the water over and over and over again. Go to the water, go to the water. I'm like, okay, I'll go to the water. So we went, and as soon as we got there, I couldn't even get my camera out in time. I'm like walking down the path, getting to the sand, and I look up and there's this blue orb that appears like right there. And it was low because it was a lot bigger than the far distant ones that I've seen before. So I was like, oh my God, I was right to come to the beach. So it appeared, and it was like this electric brilliant blue, and it flared out like it did one of those power ups at us. And I'm
Mm,
like trying to record it, but I couldn't get it on camera. So I'm like running down the beach, set up our chairs, and this orb appears over the water and just stays there. Um, this is all in the same night. You saw like a video clip from that night, but this what I'm sharing is another video clip from that night. But one orb, it appears over the water and it just stays there for like the longest time. And it's golden and it has like rainbow going around it. And I'm saying things like, you're benevolent. And when I say that, it starts flashing and getting like, it felt like it was getting excited because as I'm seeing it interact, I'm feeling things at the same time within myself, almost like I'm feeling what the orb is feeling and the orb is feeling what I'm feeling. And it's like this feedback loop back and forth, right? So that was happening. And then before that happened, though, what you saw was there was orbs appearing in the sky, and then they would just appear in the same spot too, almost the same spot. And then they would go from right to left slowly, while there's a green and white orb floating on or hovering above, it was hard to tell, the surface of the water. So the orb would appear, and then it would pass over the green and white one, get to a certain point, it would come down a little bit lower too, like to the surface of the water, and it would do like this weird thing that's going on around it. I don't even know, but it was doing something, and I could see it like with my eyes as well as through the camera, that something was going on around it. And then all of a sudden it would just disappear. And some of them would actually sink down into the water. Some of them would just disappear. And it happened over and over and over again. And I realized today that it was a full moon that night. And then on another
Mm.
night, a different night, actually, it must have been the previous month. It was the full moon of the previous month. We also saw strong activity, and it was doing the same thing, but it wasn't over a lake. It was they would just appear, move to the right or move to the left, and then disappear, and it was insane. I think I sent you those clips too. And
Yeah,
that night,
I'll include them too.
yeah, that night I was playing a frequency generator during that full moon. And then at Sylvan Beach, I wasn't playing anything. I was just out there because I felt so strongly to go to the water that the water would amplify it. And it was true. And that same night at Sylvan Beach, an orb had appeared. It was the orb that was the golden one that was right there. Some people had walked past us, behind us, right? And the orb, all of a sudden, it dimmed down like a lot to almost where I couldn't see it anymore. And I was like, holy crap, you were just there for so long. Now I know you're not a boat. Because
Yeah.
it like instantly dimmed down, and then it started traveling to the left, and then it went farther out into the distance, and it turned into like two orbs, and then the two orbs came back into one, and then it started flashing like red and white lights, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm seeing right now. You were just an orb, but now you just split in half, came back together, and you're looking like there's these flashing lights that weren't there before. And it turned into what looked like a disc, but on an angle, like this much of an angle. And along the edge were the lights, and they were like flashing. And at that point, it felt like my brain was kind of getting stretched because I had never seen an orb turn into anything other than just staying in orb form. And I haven't seen that happen to this day. So that was really interesting. I can't remember if I sent that to you or not, but that night was absolutely incredible. Like seeing them appear, move over, do whatever they're doing, disappear, go into the water, turn into a craft, like hide from people. Apparently, like that, I don't. When the people walked by, it was almost as if it didn't want to be seen by those people. But then
Interesting. Yeah.
on other nights, I had seen them, and they're just like blatantly out there, even though people are around. So that night it was truly incredible. We went back another night, and I think we saw more activity, but not as strong as that first night. And I'm going to go back this year. I haven't gone back since, but I'm going to.
Yeah, you said something that actually just made me think of something. So you were talking about how the water like amplified it. And I'm wondering if that has to do with like the way sound waves would travel through water. Like if we really are like creating a resonance in our heart that we're projecting outward, I wonder if the water would be able to amplify those waves in a certain way to like a more localized position over the ocean or water or whatever like source. Like I wonder if that would enhance it truly. I wonder if that's why so many things are out over the ocean and stuff too, because
Yeah, I really feel
yeah.
like there's something to do with water. Like there's something that they like, or some interaction that has to do with water. And water, I mean, yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense if you sit and think about it. And the fact that like we are made up of so much water as
Right.
well,
Yeah.
it seems to fit. I don't know, maybe someday we'll find out the science behind the water, because I'm still wildly curious about that too. And then the fact that water is like, um, it seems as though water itself is alive and living and interactive. If you look at like Dr. Emoto's work, and there's another woman, what's her name? I forget what her name is, but she does like the intention with the water crystals. Like she'll hold like a petri dish of water in her hand, and then she'll have like a picture of something underneath it, and then go freeze it, and then the water crystals will freeze into whatever the information was. I feel like the water is absorbing the information, and maybe
Yeah,
that's something that has to do with all of this too.
yeah, because I've heard people say like water has memory as well. Like
Yeah.
so, but yeah, like that's another crazy thing. Like, how do you explain that to like the normal material person? Like, people are able to speak loving words to water and freeze it, and you get beautiful snowflake crystals. Or if you say mean things to it, like I hate you, and then freeze it, you get these ugly blobs that don't form into crystals. So clearly, our intention is powerful enough to influence the crystalline structure that this water freezes in. So
Mhm.
that
And if
alone should be enough to prove that our thoughts can influence our reality,
Mhm.
which is
And if
crazy to think
everything is
about.
relational and
Yeah.
interactive, if reality is information and interactive on a base level, it would make complete sense. And if you look at it like if you do that to say your child or something, it's cause and effect. It's going to be the same result on a person's psyche. Why wouldn't it be the same result on other things around? And I know people will be like, well, you can't just say things to like this thing over here and make it change, but you know, when it comes to like physical matter, I feel like the more physical it is, the more dense it is. It has to do with like that part of it as well. Like the ch- the the rate change is like slower when there's more
Yes.
dense matter,
Yeah,
something like
definitely.
that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it is wildly fascinating.
because people will even talk lovingly to their plants and gardens as well too, and get bigger harvest and more crops and stuff as well. So yeah, like there's so much scientifically when you start diving into all this stuff to back up all the crazy woo woo claims that people make. That's like one of the biggest things I think people need to wake up to is stop stigmatizing and actually just go look at the research that's already out from like the 40s, 1940s until now. There is so much information out there that like it's to me it's been plain as day that there is some kind of intelligence here, and we've been interacting with it for a very long time. Um
Mhm. I think it'll
but
just take
yeah,
time for people like once they realize that even the basic things like the paranormal, like ghosts, like people's spirits
yeah,
and stuff like that, like they're open to that enough, and I think it's just going to gradually grow once they realize like, okay, if our loved ones can be around us and we can communicate and interact with them, then that might be like a little way for people to realize like, okay, it's there's a whole other world out there that we can access if we only just approach it with curiosity and openness instead of fear. I know we sound like a broken record probably
right, yeah.
saying it,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's
yeah,
truly amazing, and like it opens us up to see reality totally different, and that's an easy way. I feel like people are going to gravitate kind of towards that first, and then little by little, they'll become more and more curious with everything that's coming out, and then it'll just be a gradual change. Because I mean, look at all the views that the UAP files have. Billions and
yeah.
billions of
A
views.
billion hits in a week. People want this information.
Yeah, maybe I'm
Yeah.
projecting out there's going to be more billions more.
But
but
yeah,
but yeah, that just
yeah,
opens the door for people to get curious and start asking questions like, okay, if this is real, what else is real? Can I
yeah,
talk to my mom? Can I talk to my grandma or whoever else family member? And people can start healing and realizing you're still connected to everything. Everybody's still all around us.
yeah. And it's kind of like a snowball effect too, because like for me, I first started seeing the orb phenomenon. And then since I believed and knew that was true, once I started seeing like the mind sight and the telepathy, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This I could see this being possible because I'm connecting with some form of intelligence up in the sky that's probably through some form of telepathic communication. Like I may not clearly be knowing what is being sent to me, but clearly some kind of signal is getting sent to me, or else I wouldn't be making all these videos, starting a podcast, and talking about consciousness and all these different things. So, like, so many people have been directed and sent messages who are experiencing, and we're all pretty much saying the same thing, which is insane. Like, how do you deny that when everyone's saying the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, the intelligence itself is giving us all this information, and we are the human antenna. The more healed and regulated we become, the more we can receive that information and then continue to share it. And it's crazy. Like, the ancients knew how to do this. That's what they were doing in the pyramids. Like,
Yes.
the pyramids are just giant resonance chambers that were focusing energy and intelligence to be able to, use that for everyday life. And we can have access to that now too. And it's just
Yeah.
exciting. It's exciting to see people like starting to remember that. And I'm excited to see where the future is going to go with all of this, because like you said, it's the snowball effect, and the momentum is picking up more and more and more. And once it gets to a certain point, like we're already past that point. You can't put the jack back in the box at this point.
Yeah, we have gotten 2 official UAP files from the White House, like file drops with hundreds of videos and documents, audio files. So like there is no putting the genie back in the bottle. They're talking about it on every main news source now.
Mhm.
And it's really like starting to go mainstream, it feels like. But I won't keep stealing your time. So is there any final messages that you would like to leave for anyone listening today?
I think just stay open, be curious. Don't let the fear narratives out there consume your mind. There's more to this phenomenon than what's being projected out there. There are so many people that are having insanely beautiful, healing, transformative experiences that are bringing them back to like themselves and who they were before all of the trauma and all of the conditioning and everything. And I feel like that is really my main focus, is to point towards the beauty of the experience, and that I feel like the phenomenon is pointing us towards inner healing to bring back that balance within our society and our culture, because it's become like way unbalanced of like, this masculine domination, control, and all of that. And if we kind of even the balances and take some advice and wisdom from the ancient ways, I feel like the phenomenon's telling us that a balanced approach is a healthier approach, and we need to grow up so we don't blow up the planet, basically.
Yeah. And if we do grow up, I think we're going to be granted, world-changing technology, possibly free energy, these vehicles and crafts that may open us up to being able to travel the cosmos and all these different things, which is crazy to think about. But, that's the possibility of the world that I want to head towards. I don't want to go towards the
I agree.
devastation. Like, let's all come together. We're all humans on Earth. Like, let's team up. Let's figure out how we can better everyone and bring everyone up.
Yeah, we all deserve to have access to that too. Like, we don't need to be paying these stupid power bills and anymore. Like, we need to move in this direction, and in order to move in this direction, we need to grow, we need to heal. And if we do, the world can absolutely look completely different than it does now, in a much better way. I totally agree.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'd love if you could shout out where people can find all of your content.
I am on Facebook, just Brittany Danielle on Facebook, and then Labor of Love Alchemy on YouTube. Those are the 2 places where I'm most active. I have other socials as well, but I'm the most active on Facebook and YouTube.
Perfect. And I will have links down below for anyone interested. Thank you so much, Brittany, for coming and talking. And I feel like we could have talked for a very long time about all kinds of different subjects.
There is so much. Yep.
Maybe we'll have to talk again in the future if you're willing to come back.
Of course, yes. I would be more than happy. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Well, Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I will catch you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and quick little announcement. I know it's very short notice, but this Saturday, June 13th, we are having a Skywatch in Nunn, Colorado that is free and open to anyone who'd like to come. So if that's something you're interested in, please send me an email at lightsoverloveland@gmail.com. And also subscribe and follow wherever you're watching, because we've been having monthly events for the last 3-4 months. So if you want to get together with a group of people in person, be able to hopefully see the phenomenon if the skies are clear, which I can't always guarantee, but you also get to hang out with a group of people, share stories, connect, and also we have Ryan Davey in there doing his psychic demonstrations, so you can see firsthand for yourself how mind sight, psychokinesis, all these different kinds of psi abilities, how they work, and how you can start practicing these things for yourself. I hope to see you at the event, but if not, definitely stay tuned because there's more coming, and there's also a lot of exciting things going on behind the scenes that I'm hoping turn into massive opportunities for growth and expansion for this channel. So exciting times ahead. I can't wait to see where it takes me. Until next time, I hope your day is filled with love and light, and I'll see you in the next episode.